First, just your glow question. I can see the glaive glow here, and could be you're not seeing the key ticks. You may have changed these key ticks to auto tangent, but it could be that those are just the transform keyframes and not the, for example, this exposure keyframe. So if I go into the graph editor with that selected and click on this exposure, I can see that that is still in the step tangent type. So I'll select those keyframes and make those auto tangent. And you can see the curve changes. And then if I go back here, we can see that the glow starts gradually. So I guess the thing to know is that the key ticks on the timeline aren't necessarily because it's in the shape node, it's just the transform node ones. I think if you go to animation preferences and you change key ticks to, I thought you could do selected. I think that's what that means. Yeah, so see I have exposure clicked right now. So if I click like somewhere else, you don't see any key ticks. Now I'm just seeing the key ticks of the exposure. So if I change this, for example, back to stepped, you see that it just turns on and off like that, and I can change that to auto. So it is possible to change in the timeline, but you have to specify which channel you're referring to. But you might want to remember to put it back to active, because usually that's what you want. Okay, that was that question. Let's look at the animation. So yeah, I mean the kind of the cinematography and the camera, that all looks really cool. I think so. Last week I went over several animation changes that included making sure she's moving a little bit here. When she's moving here, make sure to appear that she's actually taking steps and doing something with her arms, and not just kind of. She looks like she's being pushed on a dolly here or something. And then yeah, I'm not too sure about this cut. It just feels like a jump cut. You know what might help actually? You could probably still do it, but if you waited until like in the middle of this motion to do your cut, it would feel more natural to do it. Oh, let's actually try in my file. Because right now it feels a little jarring to me. Let me select the camera, and so yeah, I just have to move that keyframe to 425. Whoops, that didn't work. I'll just select this little range here, move it about to there. Let's see if we like that any better. A little bit better for me. Yeah, and I mentioned those feet sliding a little bit. So if you haven't already watched the video from last week, take a look at that, because I talked about some animation improvements that I think you'll want to make. But you know, the lighting and the look of it is great. It's really good stuff. Yeah, I think I talked about also how the hand pops open over one frame. Was that? I can't remember if that was another step tangent thing or it was just what? I think it is. Well, it's It's just such a massive change all at once. I mean, maybe if we take this one out, let's see what that looks like. Oh, well, that didn't work. Why is it popping there? Is that... Let me just check the tangent type. Oh yeah, that's already better. And the wrist movement is also... Is that also stepped? I think so. I think they were just both still on step, the fingers and the wrist. Yeah. And then if you want to maybe animate the transparency of the material on that so it... Or I don't know if you want to do that, but it looks weird how it suddenly appears. Unless that was intentional. I don't know. But the hand shouldn't... It still kind of pops a little bit. I think part of the poppiness is the actual appearance of the sphere. Okay. Yeah, really cool. I think focusing in on those animation improvements that were mentioned last week.